By every statistical measure, this people, as homogeneous as they are, they should have vanished. But they remain. They're reading the same scriptures, they're praying in the same language, they're holding true to the same cultural heritage, and they're living again in the same ancestral land. Israel's reconstitution in 1948 was no colonial accident. And you and I need to get our heads straight about what's really going on here. It was actually covenant and necessity converging. Yes, you heard me say it right. After Hitler's ovens, the world finally admitted that the Jews required a homeland, but not only where they could defend themselves, but where they could also be Jews. Because despite them being scattered, they held on. And so they maintained a kind of homogeneity in terms of culture, in terms of religion, and therefore in terms of practice. The Arab neighbors, the moment Israel got reconstituted, immediately declared war. They didn't want that land before that, and so they failed in 1948. They failed again in 67. They failed again in 73. Decades of regional obsession with Jewish extermination has been accomplished with nothing. It really has. Besides confirming that Israel is a resilient nation and that the Israelis today, are a resilient people. Today's narrative of a displaced Palestine or a Palestinian nation is on historical quicksand. It's nonsense. Palestine was a Roman spite word. It was a term that was invented in the 2nd century to erase any form of Jewish identity from the land after the Bar Kokhba revolt, when Rome essentially ousted the Jews from the land. There's never been a Palestinian king, a Palestinian parliament, or a Palestinian currency. So when the Jews began returning in the 19th century, they bought land from local Arabs, mind you, at extortionate rates. And these were local Arabs who owned the land but didn't do anything with it. They were absentee landlords. Mark Twain, visiting in 1867, he called it a desolate country, a silent, mournful expanse. Imagine that. Jewish settlers drained the swamps, irrigated the fields, and built towns. Arab immigration rose because of Jewish development. Because Jewish development created a hospitable environment that created jobs. And so the myth, the lie of a thriving pre-Israel Palestine is nothing other than nonsensical late invention. Israel's right to exist is both legal and covenantal. The United Nations recognized it in 1948. It is a sovereign, democratic nation with a judiciary, a free press, and even Arab citizens, Muslim citizens, who vote and serve in parliament. In a region full of dictators and monarchs, Israel is the only polity where dissent is met with freedom. It doesn't mean prison or death. Hamas denies this reality, though. Its charter is very blunt. Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. That's what its charter actually says. So this is not about borders. It's not about erasure. Israel didn't oust anyone from the land. Israel has made peace with Egypt and Jordan. It offered Palestinians statehood more than once, most notably at Camp David in the year 2000, only to be met with rejection and the Second Intifada. When Israel says yes, Hamas consistently says no, and I dare say local Muslims say no. If Israel laid down its arms today, it would be butchered tomorrow. If Hamas laid down its arms today, peace would break out instantly in the Middle East. But despite this, Israel is being accused of genocide, a charge that's absurd on its face.